Otherwise, this is Rob at Smirking Gun Reviews. Finally getting around to making my Game of Thrones videos. Way late. And I announced this live stream a few hours ago, so I'm just gonna start talking because I don't know when anybody's gonna get here, and I gotta make sure that there's audio on this motherfucker. So. Oh, okay, well, I just checked it. Listen to myself say motherfucker. Alright, so first things first, and I guess I'm gonna move over a bit, get more centered here, is I want to talk about something really quickly before we get into this. I have a buddy here on YouTube. His name is Gino Reynolds. He's got a channel called The Real Gino. And he announced that he was in the hospital for surgery, and he's usually putting out a lot of content, and he can't do that right now. There is audio on this motherfucker. Thanks, Bryson. But he's a really great YouTuber. If you haven't checked out his channel, The Real Gino, I highly recommend checking it out. But he had surgery. I don't know what for. I'm sure he said that he was going to let people know what was going on in a little while. But I just want to... I'm not going to do that whole fucking hearts, thoughts, and prayers thing. But I am pulling for you, guy. I hope or whatever's going on isn't that serious. And hopefully, maybe, you know, if you watch this video, maybe it'll make you laugh or something. I don't know. Because this is like the last freaking Game of Thrones Season 8, Episodes 3 and 4 review that's probably going to get made. People have moved on to the shit that's going on in Episode 5. Even I made my first video back, the Aaron Rodgers cameo. If I hadn't done that video, I probably wouldn't be motivated to do this. I have not been motivated to make videos. I wasn't burned out or anything. What it was is... the massive amount of people that like the Avengers Endgame premiere and Game of Thrones Season 8 Episode 3, that was a huge weekend for people that are into nerddom. And so when I realized how much was going on out there, how many people were talking about either Avengers Endgame or Game of Thrones, it just felt so... it was like screaming into the abyss. Because I had all these thoughts too, but it became just like kind of intimidating. That, and I've been going through like a lot of personal stuff, so I just kind of like, during my vacation, I just kind of had like an idea to just take a break for a second. Yeah, you know, we got two like superhero movies. Yeah, Bryson Proctor says the highs of Endgame and the lows of Game of Thrones. Because yeah, we had two huge things happening in one weekend. One good, one like quickly tarnished and went down in flames before the end of the night. But I'm only giving myself an hour to talk about this because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 6 Episode 1 comes out. I think it's 7 o'clock tonight, so I want to watch that and possibly review it. So we might as well just jump in and let people catch up. If anybody has any questions or what they want to talk, if Bryson or anybody else that's here wants to say something, throw it out there. I'll say it on here. And I'm not really gonna play this game, even though it's Game of Thrones. I might just let it kind of play out because it's like you just pick and choose who you want to talk to and stuff. This game is actually really interesting. Unfortunately, we're never gonna see a sequel to it. Maybe we will. Hey, Battle Marcus 8, what's up? It's about the Foresters, and they're not in the books, but it's a really crazy-ass game. If you like Game of Thrones, like the pure Game of Thrones, before it became what it is now, like, this game is better than Season 8. This game, or I shouldn't say, maybe not say it go that far. This game is more Game of Thrones than Season 8 is. This game is fucking hardcore. Like, people die all the hell over the place. But to just jump in now and start talking about what I want to talk about here finally is restart episode 1. Okay, we might as well start with that episode 3 right at the beginning, right? Well, first off, let's talk about how I made season 7 videos to catch up and kind of do like a build up to season 8. And in those videos, I was pretty easy on this show. I pointed out the time travel problems, all the things that are wrong with it. Seeing it again, especially, I was like, man, this really does show, because I've said it before, and I know I've said it on other videos, that before this, before season 8 even happened, and before season 7, I was saying, what this show is going to be so much different once they catch up to the books. And I mean, they caught up to the books for some characters before Jon Snow died at the end of season 5. And like Arya's story has been caught up since I want to say season 3, the end of season 3, maybe the early beginning of season 4.
The great Jamie Lannister.
Proper purple eyes. Yeah, see, I mean, they take the detail of this, so they're even taking it more seriously, and I really do wish we could get like a sequel to this. But unfortunately, because of what happened to Telltale,
won't clean itself,
So, I just want to go on record that even though I've been positive in the past, I did notice the problems.
Make sure it's spotless.
But I was just like, okay, as long as we get a strong finish to this show, I'll be able to forgive its shortcomings, because
like it myself someday.
In the end, you want to be able to rewatch it. And if you can put up with bad times, we put up with bad times in shows all the time. Walking Dead again is a huge one of those shows that I have been on a roller coaster ride with that fucking show. I'm still there, and I'm still here for this. But this episode 3, right from the get-go, I knew something was wrong.
Never lets the truth.
First off, whenever an episode starts with Sam, I like Sam, but in the books he's a fucking coward, and he stays a fucking coward. And in this, we keep forgetting that Sam has done some brave stuff, but he's also instinctively he's a coward. And so when I see him as the guy at the beginning of this episode, I'm like, uh-oh.
I'm questioning Norrin's
We're opening on Sam freaking out already.
Every time he tells me.
But that's just
get your liege lord some wine.
Portents that I'm making too much of.
Right, thanks.
But
welcome.
Immediately I was like, why are there so many soldiers out front? Why are the trebuchets
faithfully served
out front? Why aren't they behind the walls? And I know Winterfell
his honor is beyond
isn't that big, but if anything,
House Tully is forever in his debt.
They could have built. I mean, if they had all this time, to build this trench and shit, I feel like if they knew what direction, right? They're all pointed in the direction where the dead are coming from, right? We do know that. Wouldn't it have been fucking hilarious if they were pointed the wrong way the whole time? Because what I'm saying is, if they knew where they were, why not put the trebuchets back further and just keep flinging it, man? They shot them twice.
The king in the north,
right? Is it just twice? As soon as you saw the Dothraki disappearing, it's like, hey, guess what? You guys need to start firing those things. And not to mention the fact that they sent the Dothraki out at all. Now, I know what I'm saying is stuff that you've heard on other videos. I know it. I can't help it. I mean, I can only give my own personality. It's the only grab here. But it doesn't make sense. You don't send your cavalry in like that in the dark. Why didn't they have, freaking bonfires across this field so they could at least see them coming? But no, the story, let's take Bryson's question here. Melisandre came from the direction of the dead army. How did she get through? Exactly. Exactly. How did anything happen in this? I'll tell you. They willed it. They had the story where they wanted each beat to go, and he damned with the rules. George R.R. Martin wrote the rules in the books. They were adapting it just fine. All of a sudden, the source material runs out, and they forget the rules? Or was it also like a combination of you know, people have been so upset about all our favorite characters getting killed, all the good guys dying and everything, that we're finally going to have all the good guys win. Dude, that's not Game of Thrones. That is for normies. That kind of storyline is for normies. And even people that don't read the books, that have obsessed or at least done the research on these shows and the characters and stuff, understand how these characters would be. And on the show, we've established how these characters can be.
Your hard work.
But if you're not going to pay attention to that, if you're going to just throw those rules out the window just to fit the story that you want to tell, then get the hell out of Dodge, finish your HBO deal, and move on to fucking Star Wars, because that's why this, I think, I mean, come on, if they're supposed to be doing a Star Wars trilogy, they can't be doing this and that. So all of a sudden, fucking Game of Thrones has got to go. I would love if HBO canceled, like, or if Lucasfilm and Disney and everybody, not Lucasfilm.
Can you give me a hand?
Disney just canceled their freaking trilogy, and then they'd be like, shit, we could have done like 3 or 4 more seasons of Game of Thrones. Jan Fulton, hi, how you doing? Everyone should have been inside the castle. What's the whole point of a castle? Exactly. And then in episode 4, when they just tell us all that they only lost like half their guys. Where was the other half?
Just my luck to end up with Nori.
That didn't die. Especially with the Dothraki. Where were they hiding?
Drunk?
Dragon stone arrows from the wall would have devastated the whites.
You think he was the way he hands out orders?
Again, and also, why weren't they? Why weren't there archers out there?
Low expectations.
Like, they had the Unsullied, and they had...
Well, maybe I'd think saddling his horse was the greatest honor.
And it's all like, we can complain about every single scene in this show. Just about. From like the and don't get me wrong. Here's the thing. This is the fucked up thing about it for me. When I first watching it, I was enjoying it. I was seeing the problems, but I was enjoying it.
Which is nothing.
But as the episode kept going, I just kept getting this feeling like I was trying to just like it to spite the problems. Just say fuck the problems. I'm just gonna enjoy this. But I couldn't. Over time. Right when Arya killed the Night King, I ran upstairs because I was watching it downstairs. My family was watching it upstairs, and they hadn't gotten to that part. And I was like, holy fuck. And I hadn't even processed everything yet. I just couldn't believe that had just happened, and how did that happen? And even I was like, what the fuck is she doing? But
take your time.
I ran upstairs and I watched it again, and while I was watching it with them, everything started crumbling.
In a generous mood.
And I went, wait, what?
Phrase.
This is it?
Nice night.
This is it. The thing that we started in the very first scene of Game of Thrones
After he finds it,
is just done. Another thing that just didn't make sense. This battle, in my opinion, should have been the last episode. Or episode 5. Tonight's episode.
What's wrong?
Unless like some people are still saying that they're gonna pull a little bit of hijinks on us and we're gonna get some more Night King. Dumbest plotline is Bryson says the dumbest plotline is Ghost. Ghost goes off with the Dothraki for reasons, I guess. He disappears for the entire battle. He reappears, and he goes and he fights.
What's wrong with him?
And he disappears. They make him appear whenever it's for fans. It's fan service that he's there.
Such a rush.
I didn't know what had happened to him, and then the next episode he's just there. And if he's just been hanging out, man, I don't understand it.
What about?
I don't understand. I mean, like other people have said, they really hate the direwolves.
What's the rush?
This show.
You don't need a fucking run.
And we haven't even scratched the surface yet on that first scene, that first battle scene.
And you're not making this any easier.
Again, why didn't they have? It's just like it's exhausting thinking about all the problems. Where do you start? Because after this was over, I watched it again, and I saw everything that I was like clear as day.
You need to get back to camp.
This is over. I said it in episode 2. I said, why are we getting a big, character situation going on here? Everybody's like having their goodbyes and shit, and we spend a whole hour on we get the first episode To usual Game of Thrones, here we are, this is where everyone's at. Fine. Episode 2 should have been the Battle of Winterfell. If they were going to do it like this. Also, the Night King is a bitch to take out a dragon with a spear, but I know, it's more than just, I guess, talking about these scenes. If you guys want to talk about certain things that are wrong, I'm going to throw it out there. But the problem is just, these guys never should have been given, this never should have been done with these guys.
Shoot that one!
If the story wasn't done. These guys probably could have done a good job. If I continued to do a good job, if the source material was done. But that just kind of puts the blame. Oh, I got myself killed in the game. That puts the blame on marketing or something. You know, like, no, the blame is still with Weiss and Benny and HBO. Because
Ready, boys!
they're the ones who should have been able to understand the plots and how the characters
Shoot
go.
that
But
one!
just because people want something, this subversion of expectations. Oh shit! I got hit in the face, man. I'm not even gonna. Yeah, Valar Morghulis, just like the fucking show. Okay, so I can't do this and that. I don't think they were right in front of her. Oh, she also would have seen the ships, right? Okay, so it's just all of this stuff is just written so that they can just, like I said, they're ignoring the rules that they created, or they helped create, or they at least, you know, for the show they did. And if you're gonna do that, at least make it good. You have to at least make the characters still make sense. Cersei didn't kill anyone but the stupid girl on the wall, who I don't care. Like, what should have happened there? That scene, none of that should have happened. I can think of all these ways that I kept making excuse. Well, this should have happened, and it should have happened this way, and it should have happened that way. None of that should have happened. Daenerys never should have went down there. That never should have been written that way. Again, whole sections of this whole thing needed to be scrapped. It felt like a first draft. Both of these episodes, like nobody took a pass through this. Or are they just so up on high and mighty on their, you know, fucking own iron thrones and up their own asses that they don't even recognize when they're fucking up on a script? Arya taking out the Night King, again, was just like, I loved that it was Arya. It was earned. How she got there and all that other stuff, it didn't make sense. Nothing. The one thing that I really did like about this whole episode that some people still don't like, and I will give this episode one thing that I did like. Melisandre. I really like the closing out of her character. I don't like necessarily how they did everything. Like, it's not the character's fault what they do with her. And it's not the actor's fault how they write her. She needed to go out. She said she was going to come back and die here. You know, she said she was going to see her lord fight in the flames. Or the person that she, you know, her whatever, a long ass time ago, saw somebody fighting in the flames, right? The prince that was promised or whatever. I don't remember whoever she was trying to talk about. She thought it was Stannis, then she thought it was Jon. And when she looks at Arya, I think that's what she's basically saying. And they have set that up in the show over time, loosely. Very loosely. Like, such an interpretation, like, come on. Like, it's almost like they purposely wrote a backdoor. Like, if we get into trouble, we're just going to go back to that scene and say, oh, we knew about this all along. Because they could say, because it would be partially true, but it's just not the way they intended it. I don't believe they intended it to be Arya. I really don't. I think that's a fucking lie. Just like whenever you get one of these people, you know, in an interview and they, you know, ask him about the show. Although I did like the Kit Harington interview that he did on How to Train Your Dragon with this girl. And at the end of the interview, because this was before season 8 came out, this is when how he was doing press for How to Train Your Dragon, and the girl asked Kit, if you could sum up Game of Thrones season 8 in one word, what would it be? And he sat there for a second and said, disappointing. And I thought it was hitting clickbait. But he really did it, and he said it in a way that I believe. I really, really do. But he also quickly said something else, another one word, but it wasn't like amazing or anything like that. I don't think it was just like, wow. He's like the Mark Ruffalo of this show, I guess. But no, he's not. It's but when you can't, like when they can't even necessarily, what's on their mind, man. If the first thing that comes out of your mouth almost immediately is disappointing, there's a problem. Wish more of us had seen that interview before. Also, like with my speaking of the interviews, when I watched after I made my video about Aaron Rodgers, where have you been vacation? No, well, I was on vacation, and then but it wasn't like I went anywhere. I went in within myself. And I found myself lacking. I've been going through some rough couple of weeks, and it happened at the like my vacation was fine, but I was just a little disheartened by everything that's going on with YouTube, and not getting to 1,000 subscribers, and not being able to afford an equipment so I can do live streams. But that I keep saying that's gonna change, and I need to stop saying that because it'll happen when it happens. But I also was going through some bad stuff, and after watching Endgame and having the weekend of Game of Thrones season 8 episode 3, I just felt really, really, really like I was gonna be screaming into the abyss. And after a while, just not making videos just kind of was becoming like, if I hadn't made this morning's video, I don't know when the next video would have come. And it's not because I didn't want to. It's just, I'm in one of those little moments where I'm a highly motivated person. And when I throw myself into something, I try to do it all the way. And so when I realized, after I went to C2E2, I wanted to do more and get things going. And I don't have the patience. I don't have a lot of patience. I need to work on that. And so it was really hard to make videos, and so I just stopped for a minute. And I needed to pull myself out of it, and here we are. For whether this video is any good or not, I need to finally get all this Walking Dead shit out of my brain. And so let's get back to that. We got about half an hour before Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. comes on, so we can still keep talking here. But it's just, this whole thing is just, all I had to do was be good. I didn't have to blow my skirt up. It didn't have to, completely blow my mind. Because even Breaking Bad's series finale, which is one of the best finales of all time, still, like, when I went into that last episode of Breaking Bad, I thought it was going to be, like, a lot different in my head. And, but it you know what I mean? Like, but I was still, like, it's still, like, one of the best shows ever made. And so that's all this show needed, was a kind of good ending, a sort of, like they said, bittersweet is what they were saying early on. Battle Marcus 8, I need to go to sleep, need to wake up early tomorrow, have a nice dream. All right, take it easy, Battle Marcus. Man, where do you live? You gotta go to bed at 6. It's 6:26 here. What time is it there, Battle Marcus? Or do you work third shift or something, or first shift? Anyway. Gosh. All right. Got to pick something where was I? All right. Somebody give me something here. Oh, I was talking about Melisandre though. Her just showing up was fine. Where did she come from? I have no fucking idea, man. It's now that she's dead. Oh, wow. Okay, that's right. You're in Portugal, man. Oh, and it's 125 there? Wow, shit. Well, thank you for checking out me in a little old Illinois, US of A. So Melisandre, I still call kind of... They allude to her power in the books. You don't really see that big... I mean, yeah, there's the demon baby. But nothing that led me up to, I'm her finance... I miss her. I know. Carice Van Houten. Oh, boy. She's German, I think, right? Or whatever. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. I said in one of my videos that I would marry her. I wish she... Oh. Even after she turned into the old lady, I was like, I don't care. Just keep the necklace on. Because that is a beautiful woman, And in real life, too. Real life, Carice Van Houten, when she doesn't look like Melisandre and she just looks like herself, whoa, wowie, wow. You know, like the wolf and the eyeballs and shit and the tongue on the floor. But, like, lighting up all the Iraqs to make it look cool, and then they just all die. And I'm like, well, that's okay. She tried. She did something. You know, she lit up the field for a second. She let us all... I mean, I think it was all just done, again, for the plot. Does it make sense that she can do that? I don't... They never gave us any indication that she was that powerful, but she did give birth to a demon baby, so I don't know, like, what the rules are for her power. She's like Scarlet Witch. Literally. It's like, she looks like Scarlet Witch. Wow. Elizabeth Olsen and Carice Van Houten. I think I just broke my brain as far as like two attractive women at the same time, redheads. Okay, sorry, back on track. Shit, back on track. Get my head out of the gutter. So then, but the whole thing with I think they just thought it would look cool. Yeah, it did look cool, and it was a way for the characters to see them that all their friends get killed while they do nothing about it. They all just stand there and freak out, and Sansa or Arya goes, "Get the fuck in the crypt, kid." Chatterbox Review, is good to see you back talking about Game of Thrones. It's been a disappointing last couple episodes. Yes, it has been. And if you haven't checked out Chatterbox Reviews, you definitely should check out his channel. He's a pretty good reviewer as well. Good to see you here. You know, all these things that look cool, right? I mean, it's style over substance. Hey, Belinda R. Game of Thrones, the most epic fail in TV history. As far as like a whole season failure, yes. And then you have to go, are you ever going to be able to rewatch the show? Like, I don't know if I can ever really go back and rewatch this. That's the thing. Like, DVD sales and shit are going to drop off. Like, hard. Chris K, do you think that it is possible that the plot leaks are fake? Could HBO leak them to create hype and or disappointment and then end the season, end the series in a way that was not foreseen? Anything is possible, right? But here's the thing: we've been giving these guys, like, I've seen a few videos that have been blaming the fans because of our feelings about this, but they gave us. We were so used to incredible storytelling, incredible episodes and arcs and characters for 4, partially 5 years. And we became as what we knew how the characters would act, so we knew where we wanted things to go. We knew that where things had to go too, and we knew we were going to lose some people along the way. We got used to it because that's even the book people understood that shit, you know, and the people who didn't read the books. Which, come on, everybody, if you love this show so much, why isn't anybody picking up a book? They're not that hard to read. They really aren't. Once you get into it. Whew. But, because I've read, like, all the books in, like, a couple of months, I think. I keep getting sidetracked when I go on a little rant like that. Belinda R. said, so disappointing. The writing, direction, and storytelling in Season 8 is such garbage. Yeah. Again, don't try to adapt something that's not finished. You know, it's something that, like, we just never really fully thought about. We're just like, oh, it's gonna be fine. Too busy reading the Expanse books again. Yeah, well, at least we have that to look forward to, right, guys? I mean, I trust the Expanse people like I trusted Benioff and Weiss. Except Benioff and Weiss have now been proven to be hacks. They sewed Deadpool's mouth shut. Now they've got Arya flying in like a fucking, doing a ray, as other people have said. I don't remember that. I probably. Designs R Us says it was cool how the Night King grabbed Arya out of the air, though. It all looked great. Everything looked great. I mean, okay, people said that it was hard to see, and it was. It was hard to see. I was thinking about that. Like, some people were saying maybe it was the compression that so many people were watching it streaming, like I was, that maybe it was hard to get a good image. I don't know. But all I know is that later on, I saw it later on, and it was better looking. So happy we have the Expanse. In the Expanse we trust. Yes. I don't think we're going to get, I think Expanse Season 4 is going to be the opposite of this. And think about this. I love The Expanse, but it's not as popular as Game of Thrones. And Season 4 is going to be of The Expanse, though, with less money and less star power and all that stuff. And it's going to be 10 times the show that this was. Fuck dragons. Give me some realistic space stuff that I never knew I would like in a heartbeat over this. Designs R Us says, what was Bran watching the whole time? Some people, like, I was saying that the whole time, like, but also, okay, so to talk about that, I want to talk about why the dead stopped at the trench, right? He controls what they do. It's just like at the ice thing, kind of. Like, he can raise them up, and I think he can command them, right? Because once they get going, this would be like a free-for-all if he couldn't control them, right? Still wanting an answer to that. Yeah. I think, I mean, don't be surprised if they don't, but I really, really hope they do. I really think that if they're going to pull up on, from the fucking nosedive into the goddamn ground, they need to answer. They need to try to pull something out of this. Belinda R says, you're in for a treat with Season 4 of The Expanse. Season 4 covering one of my favorite fave Expanse books. That's how I felt. Like, I loved when I was able to tell people about Game of Thrones Season 3 and 4. That's, like, because Game of Thrones, the Storm of Swords is, like, the best book. One of the best books I've ever read. And I was so excited for people that hadn't read the books to, like, see what was, couldn't wait to tell them what was going to, or let them see what was going to happen. And I told them to read the fucking books if they're so curious. That's what I like about you, Belinda and Jan, is you guys don't put spoilers and shit from the books in your comments and things like that. Because you could easily, do that. Or make fun of people who haven't read the books. Because I feel like I'll read the books after the fact. I'm just going to go along for the ride instead of, like, being... I'm so used to being the guy who's read and seen everything, like The Walking Dead and Game of Thrones and shit and Harry Potter and blah. And it's nice to kind of be able to be on one side of things instead of both sides. Where it's not willful ignorance, it's just choosing to be a fan for now in only one way. But getting back to this, other things. Okay, so we're still talking about Melisandre. We just keep getting sidetracked a little bit. So she walks. Why is she walking? Again, I can understand things for the I don't understand things for the plot. But if you're going to make a screw up, like, why isn't she hauling ass? I know that she's really an old lady, but if she can make an illusion like she is one of the most beautiful women in the world, I think she can make an illusion that looks like she's moving quicker. Because, come on. And then the trench thing. She tries again. She comes through when nobody else could, because plot. It doesn't work because the Night King, which we were going to talk about Bran, if he can control them, right? He stopped them from running through the fire. Is that what we're supposed to believe? Or did the undead who don't have brains suddenly decide to stop for themselves? Right? So, right after that happens, Bran and Theon have their moment, and he says, I'm going to go now. And Bran closes his eyes. Well, no, he does like the shark eyes, where the eyes roll over. And he goes into the ravens, and he flies out past... It's important, I think, that he flies past what just happened. The trench is lit, he's over the White Walkers, or the undead, And he goes and he flies up and he sees the Night King. And as soon as he gets to the Night King raises his hand. And that's when those guys decide to move through the trench. It did feel like the whole time they were either working together or something deeper was going on. And they never let us in on that. That last look that the Night King gives Bran, it looked like they expected each other. Well, it did mean something, because that's how they explained. But Designs RSS, do you think the Night King touching Bran will mean anything? And that's what we're hinting at. I mean, it's almost like maybe split personality, but like split bodies. I don't know. Honestly, it just feels like they need to pick a lane here. If they're gonna do like a surprise in the, like when somebody's waiting to be executed, and you're waiting for the governor to call at the 11th hour, like this is the last minute. If you're gonna, but no. They haven't said anything. And that look, like, hey, he almost kind of looked like he was betrayed. Like, hey, man, we did it or some shit. Because what if Bran's lying? Maybe he becomes a new Night King. Yeah. I was wondering, that's from Designs RSS, maybe he becomes a new Night King. We've been told that the Three-Eyed Raven is, we think he's good, right? But what if the Three-Eyed Raven, what if the Night King and him were in cahoots, but then the Three-Eyed Raven betrayed him? Belinda R., they wasted so much character development with the Red Women, and literally everyone else. They shit all over everything that comes before. Yeah, before Bran will be in the Night King, it will be the Night King and sit on the throne. I'm okay. With that officially. You're become part of the because it's still going on, by the way. Just because I haven't made videos. Where is it? Yep. We're still giving away the Oreo Game of Thrones cookies. All you have to do is for one of them leave your favorite moment of Game of Thrones, which at this point I think I'm going to say is going to be when it ended. Was my favorite moment. When the final click on HBO goes, that'll be my favorite moment. And then the other part of the contest is who do you think is going to be on the Iron Throne? Now, going into this is another thing. When I made this contest, I didn't think just give me the damn cookies. Look, I right now think you are the fucking front runner, Belinda. I think you're the front runner. I think that idea right there, Bran becomes the Night King, is the best freaking idea. That's if the spoilers that are out there aren't true. Okay? Which I hope they're not. And I to be honest with you, I actually don't know them. What I've tried to do is think about the stupidest shit possible. She wants all the cookies. Well, I've got 4 more that I'm selling on eBay eventually here, so I don't know, man. How much do you want for them? So the other one is for who's going to be on. Oh yeah. So, all right, you can't stop talking about the cookies, because we still haven't finished talking about Melisandre. So I'm just going to get to it. Damn it! This whole live stream is just going to be called the Melisandre stream. When she tells Arya her thing and the blue eyes, and then Arya gets the aha moment, which I don't know why she. I know that Arya now we have to accept that she thinks like a killer. She thinks the strategy. She knows how to do what she assassinate people, and she probably wasn't happy with the plan in the Godswood in the first place. So I guess you can say that maybe it was quick for Arya to put it together and dip, because that's what she does. And they did a good job at making us forget about her. I will give them that. They really did. But again, still, her just zipping out of nowhere, man. Even though it looked fucking badass, even the eye look, where his eyeball goes down, that was all tight. But it's stupid. There was I watched somebody else's video, they said that if they just skipped the dragon pinning Jon down and having Jon fight the Night King, but getting knocked down, and it's a distraction so that everybody would be focused on the Night King and Jon, that they wouldn't see Arya coming. Because the undead have their focus through the Whites and the Night King, right? So if they're all focused on something else, that could have explained Arya zipping through there. But again, Melisandre. So she tells her thing, and she leaves the Hound there, which he's covered in blood, man, when they come out, and she is not, there isn't a damn mark on her. I don't know what happened between them two, but she clearly made out in that deal. But it was her last moment, and I loved her walk out there. I thought that in this shit show, her walk out there saying to Davos, I'm going to be dead before dawn, and him just kind of going, all right, fuck it. You know, what's one more, you know. She says she's going to die, so maybe she can help us. And I don't know what's going on with my hat. I never should have touched it. But she did her thing. Davos, it did almost look like he was coming to make sure she was dead. But then he just sees her go out there. She drops the necklace. I have to be honest. I wish she had dropped her dress a second earlier. Give me one. Alright. If this makes me a bad person that I like to see Carice Van Houten nude, I'm a bad person. Pow. Somebody Designs Her Ass is asking me how old was she. I believe what people have been saying is that she's at least 200 years old. And that she's been waiting to do this her whole life. And that the power of that stone has been keeping her alive. And she literally has been waiting for these prophecies. Rob, get over it. Which part? Oh, maybe you're telling me to get over Melisandre. I'll try. But the way she walked out there and just dropped it reminded me of like the movie Shane, or like where the guy leaves and they're like, you just like the old cowboy leaving town after they've done their job, and how Shane kind of slumps over in his saddle and you assume he's dead after he just took care of business. Oh, the Red Women. And then he saw that she was just this old lady, man, this whole time, and kind of like accepts it. I mean, I guess it's important that Davos saw that. I don't think it's going to pay off in any way to his character, really. But there's something else we need to talk about, and that's the problems with these episodes and the cutaways. They talked about how the budget was cut because they figured, well, fuck it, they're going to watch anyway, so why not cut everything? But there was so much that they could have cut. They could have had other things put back in. Like I said, if they had just done the Jon and Night King fight, they could have just lost all that footage of the dragon and said, fuck it, why does the dragon have to keep attacking? And just assume, like we didn't know Rhaegal was dead, we'll just assume that the freaking frozen dragon was, killed too somehow. I don't know. Or just killing other people somewhere else. But they kept having all these people swarming our characters, and then cut away, and then she'll probably pack up. I hope she pops back up outside my bedroom door. I would be a complete gentleman, okay? But the cutaways, all these guys are always storming our characters. They cut away, and then they're fine. The cutaways in this is just them. Like, you could have gotten rid of all those extras. If you didn't have Jon swarmed from the guys from the Night King, just because it looks cool. Like, again, like, were they stoned when they made this? Like, it would be badass, man. It's like, oh, these dudes come in. And then they just realized, after they wrote it down, they're like, how do we write around this? Oh, we just cut away. And they just must have been stoned every scene because they just keep, oh shit, well, just do a cutaway, man, just do a cutaway. Okay, so we don't know how they're going to respond to Jon. We don't want to piss anybody off. So, like, right before Bran tells Sansa and Arya everything, and we're just going to cut away because we don't want them to. Why? In those circumstances, like, they do it in stupid circumstances when our characters they're fucked. There's no way they live through these situations. The whole front line is filled with the stars, and they are overwhelmed by a tidal wave of undead, and they're all fine. They cut away, and everybody just keeps, ugh. Those cutaways are bad enough, but when they cut away from scenes like getting the reaction of Tyrion asking Bran about his story and what happened to him. I would love to hear that. And he's like, well, we need a lot of time. He's like, well, what the fuck else are we going to do? Tell me. Cut away. We could have heard so much stuff. Tyrion could have had a better role in this. Get to the chat here. Don't even want to talk about the fucking dragons. What a waste. Designs R Us says how he survived the war. Oh, he had the best hiding spot following her. Yeah. Don't even talk about the dragons. What a waste. Yeah. Why? Why do we even have dragons when we don't know how to use them? It's because we're changing our expectations. The subverting. Okay, that's another fucking thing. That term used to mean something cool. But then we get Ryan Johnson and the Benioff and Weiss and made subverting expectations something to be feared now. Sam is the luckiest man ever, laughing my ass out. It's no way he's supposed to live through that. Yeah. Thanks to Designs R Us, Jan Fulton, that pissed me off as well. Yeah, everybody just with their boo-boos. Their boo-boos that they had. Oh, no. Oh, my gosh. They really went through hell. John was completely useless. Belinda R says, why did they do that? Yeah, and especially on that dragon. Neither of them... I mean, I know it's like their first dragon fight, right? But if all the rules are out the window, why not make them badasses on dragons? Why'd they have to be so, like, especially John, too? Useless. He was sitting on the wall with the freaking dragon, and he could have lit that trench at any goddamn time. I mean, all we're really doing here, right, is just bitching about Benioff and Weiss's script and the incompetence. And I don't want to blame the director. I really don't. Because that guy has put together some great episodes. And I don't know if he had any say in the editing room or what. But, I mean, I think that I'm going to give that guy the benefit of the doubt and say it wasn't his fault that the episode turned out this way. He got the script. He did the best he could. But yeah, John was just so useless. And why did they decide to just make everybody so fucking dumb? And making Cersei, all of a sudden, like, she has all the things that she could want right in front of her. The last dragon, the dragon queen, her fucking brother, the general of her armies, all these arrows and everything, and she just kills Missandei. Who, again, I still say, in real Game of Thrones, would have taken fucking Cersei with her. And it's Cersei... Oh! Is it wrong that I want Cersei to win? I know she won't. But, and I can't be a part of the contest, but at this point I'm going to say it's probably going to be Jon or Sansa that ends up on the throne. But, and if it's Sansa, oh, I will never rewatch this show ever again. I hope it's Belinda's. Honestly, I really do hope it's Belinda's with the Night King in the 11th hour. I would love that. Chris K says, I was wondering what happened to Rhaegal's body. Did they burn it in the pyre along with all the dead bodies? Shouldn't they show it at least once? Rhaegal didn't die. Oh, the other dragon. Yeah. Oh, you know what? Yeah. Maybe it was just too painful and again, I don't know. Viserions. Okay, so you corrected yourself. Belinda R. What about Ghost? What the fuck was that shit? Alright, so I'm not gonna just jump on, like, the problem that they said, it's just dumb. He's still part Stark. He knows that. So why would he just suddenly go, well, I'm not a real Stark. I'm not 100% Stark. I'm just 50% Stark. So I guess gotta send you on your way. And they said that it was a CGI thing. David Nutter, the director, said it was a CGI thing. That he didn't pet Ghost. Bull fucking shit. Just get a dog to stand still for 1 second while a white dog, and you figure it out, and you walk over and you have him pet the dog, and you go, put him face to face, right? Just face to face scene. They can do anything. They did it with the fucking wolves in Arya in season 7. And just have him go, you're better off out there instead of with me. Because I don't know nothing. And the way these writers are making it, I really don't know nothing. And why am I talking in an almost Australian accent? Yeah, Ghost, the dire wolves, man, were shit on this whole fucking show. And it just happened without me really noticing it. which really bums me out that I wasn't, I was so caught up in other shit. We got about 10 minutes or so before, well, we got about 9 minutes before we got to go. So anybody got anything to say, better start putting it in here now. What about the lighting? Wouldn't that be the director's fault? That was complete BS. I don't, like it probably was, but maybe it looked different to them. I don't know. If it is his fault, I mean, I'm fine with him taking fault for things. But like I said, I watched it later on, and I do feel it does look better. It's not perfect. Oh, it's certainly not perfect, especially when it's just goes from black to like real black, and you're supposed to be able to see something in that complete blackness. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Just put some freaking bonfires out there and solve the problem, They didn't just fling some freaking fire out there just to test to see where they're at. Jan Fulton, the Hound will end up on the throne. All right, I'll hold you to that. That's you entering the contest. Jan also says there was no lighting. Yeah, they were trying to be, minimalist, right? They were trying to make it realistic. I think I heard that too. They wanted it to look like how the characters would see it. Well, I guess they were more worried about how the characters would see things than we saw things. But then after the fact, when they saw, if they wish we were just talking about the lighting. Let me tell you that right now. They wish the lighting was the big problem here. Designs R Us says John basically gave the ghost peace sign, laughing my ass off. He did it like an opposite. Like, what's up, bro? He did like the nod, the down nod, like, yeah, man, yeah. Just. Oh God, it's just so dumb. Belindar says they could have just put a white pelt on something and showed him petting something, for fuck's sake. I still think that the ghost thing is like small potatoes, but it just shows it's a trend. It's a trend of them just saying fuck all. And that's why I do think, like, in the end, wouldn't it be great if they lost their Star Wars trilogy? For real. Like, if the reason that this show is ending is because they wanted out, and maybe their contract was only up to 8, I don't know, but somehow they wanted out of this, right? It feels like they wanted out of this. Everything's so rushed. All these storylines that could have been fleshed out in more seasons while we wait for goddamn George's book. All the things that they could have done as characters got older. I mean, I would have loved to seen. I have a new follower named Wally King 119. I guess he must have seen it on here. Hey, how you doing, man? Find me on YouTube. It's Smirking Gun Reviews. Damn it. Belinda, it might be a small thing, Ghost, but the fans deserve that goodbye. No, I'm not saying it's not a small thing. We were talking about like just everything that they've done is just like. I have never seen a show collapse this fast and hard. After episode 3, realizing how bad it gotten, I couldn't watch episode 4 without just going, like, what the fuck, every couple of seconds? And I mean, realizing that and another thing that pisses me off is realizing now that if we were going to get back into political shit, why did we kill Littlefinger? Wouldn't this have been a great moment to have, like, this could have been Littlefinger's death coming up? If we had just strung his character along, because why not? Plot, right? Everybody's got plot armor. I thought that it was fitting in the end. I defended the death in the end because I was like, well, if there's no more political intrigue on this show, really, then fine, they killed Littlefinger. But now that the political intrigue is back, wouldn't it have been great to have Tyrion, Varys, and Littlefinger in a room talking about the throne one last freaking time for old time's sake? Again, it makes me even madder now that Littlefinger's dead. I was over Littlefinger's death until this. Now it's just turning into a train wreck, says Belinda. Yep. I mean, to me, I don't know, like, what my biggest... where are the Faceless Men at? Yeah, all these cool things. Like, what's going on at Essos, man? Or wherever she left Dario Naharis, right? Like, if time travel exists, right? If you can send ravens, like, in an hour to, like, across the ocean, like they do with everything else, why couldn't she send word to her buddy Dario and say, dude, I need fucking guys. Come across the ocean. Figure it out. Because it doesn't matter at this point. If the rules are be damned. I mean, maybe he will show up. I don't know. But, like, the rest of the world is still going on. I almost hope that it goes out in epically bad fashion, where they just throw everything at us, like everything in the kitchen sink. But other than that, I mean, we're gonna shut this down here in about a couple of minutes here, because Agents of Shield is about to start, and if anybody wants to know, I will be reviewing that after this is over. If you like that show, I hear a Dorne Prince is gonna show up with possible army. Yeah. I mean, we've got Dorne. You know, they've been pretty much useless up until now, and written that way. Designs are us. Matter of fact, how the hell Ghost survived anyway? Yeah, how did he survive anyway? He just, of course, even Ghost just has a boo boo. I mean, on the dog, it's noticeable. They wanted to make us go, oh, they wanted to make us feel even worse. And I almost feel like the saying is true that Benioff and Weiss are just saying fuck it and fuck you and trying to look serious through the whole thing while they were laughing and counting their money. But yeah, I think that's pretty much where I'm going to end it. I mean, I didn't really get to talk about everything I wanted to talk about, but I think the point is clear. I mean, and really, what else is there to say that hasn't been already said before? There are tons of people out there because he's a ghost. Good one. Jan Fulton looked like he was missing a bit of his ear. Yeah, the boo-boo, his boo-boo. Even the dog got a boo-boo. So anyway, Arya, look, I'm fine with what Arya's doing. I don't really, since she is always my favorite character and I always want her to be a superhero badass killer, I'm fine with how they're taking her character. She's about the only thing that I like, even if it doesn't make sense. She's the one thing that I'm letting them get away with. And if we get Clegane Ball, sure, great, grand. But I do hope that in some way they can pull it out so that we at least can rewatch the show knowing that, like the last season, it's like the last episode of Lost. The show to me was great and fantastic pretty much until that last moment, last 10 minutes. And yeah, I know that the show wasn't the same after season 3 and the writer's strike and all that, but it still stayed consistently tense and very bingeable and needing you to watch the next week and all that. And I feel like that's this whole season of Game of Thrones. And maybe they can pull it out into a reverse Lost where they can like make the last 10 minutes good. I don't know. But it doesn't feel like there's anything that they can really do to bring me back to saying this is Game of Thrones. Because this, my friends, is not Game of Thrones. This is fan fiction, like we all been talking about before. So anyway, I want to thank everybody for Game of Boo Boos. I want to thank everybody for coming out here. I've made my peace with Lost. Yeah, I haven't rewatched it in a while, but you know. Anyway, thanks everybody. Belinda, Jan, Designs Are Us, everybody that's come here to talk. And anybody that even hasn't commented, well, thanks for watching. Anybody future watching, if you like the channel, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe. Otherwise, again, thanks everybody for checking it out, and we will see you next time. So, peace out, everybody.